Hello and welcome to this tutorial for Shallow by Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. Alright. I'm gonna start with playing the advanced version, and then no matter if you're a beginner, intermediate or whatever, we're going to break it down from beginner to advanced. But I'm gonna start with counting it real slowly in the advanced version. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. So this is the verse of Shallow, and it's also the intro with some very slight variations. But what we need to know is that this piece is in the key of G, and a good way to think about a key is to think in major chords, because you can really think of a key as just 3 primary chords. So of course, G major, you skip 3 and 2, and then you have a G major chord. That's of course the most important chord in the key, and that's why we called it the tonic, to give it a fancy name. The second most important chord is the top chord that starts on the top note D, and we skip 3, and this is what we call the dominant chord, the upstairs neighbor. So we should get familiar with G major and D major. Now, on the other, if you go in the opposite direction, we have what we call an underchord or a subdominant. And in the case of G, we got C on the left side here. So we can really think of a key as like a chord in the middle, a chord below, and a chord on top. Major chords. C, G, D. Now what can we, why is this important? Well, it's because if we play a song in G, we're gonna have our hand in these positions most of the time. For instance, like here. This is like the right hand is in G. And this is D. And then back to G. And sometimes we add this little note in between the major or the minor sound. It's one of our favorite melody notes, and it fits right for the index finger if you play it like this, or maybe a more advanced grip, it fits like this. This is also G. If you're a beginner, you should definitely start by playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers, and then like this. And you should also get familiar with inversions. What is an inversion? The chord G is made up of notes G, B, and D, and we can also play these in another order, like B, D, G. That's called first inversion of G, and there's also a second inversion, D, G, B. It's a good idea to play these arpeggiated, that means one note at a time. G in root position, G in first inversion, and second inversion. Make sure you practice this like really steady. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and now I move to C. But you need to do the same in these 3 major chords of the key, and you need to do it in the inversions. So it goes like this: 1 and 2 and inversion, 1 and 2 and second inversion. And you might want to go down as well. And then repeat the same in C. Of course, in a tempo that fits you. finally in the dominant D. And of course this can be a lot more exciting and advanced. You can go like but for now you should just stick with one note at a time and a evenly spaced rhythm. Then if you want to fool around, you can go make up your own rhythm with these grips. That's the fun part of it. You should definitely go for that as well. And when we mix this up, we can go, instead of going from like the tonic to the dominant, we can just do like this. And it sounds better and it's more practical, and it's from G to D or from G to C. And really most of the songs I ever encountered can be reduced to like these 3 chords. And the nice thing about these positions is they fit to all the notes of the scale. And in the key of G we have only one black note, and it's the F sharp. Comes from the D major chord. If we had a natural F, it would be a D minor. So it wouldn't be as closely related to G as D is. All right, now let's not get too deep into scales and all that boring stuff. Okay, so another good way to approach this song is like just playing bass notes. Tell me something, girl. Are you happy in this modern world? So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. And that's the whole verse, really. And we can do this with both hands. Tell me something, girl. Actually, we should say 1, 2, 1, 2. Tell me something, girl. 2, 3, 4. C, and then we go to G and a D. This is usually the most, the simplest part to memorize of a song. Is this the bass notes? When we know that, we can look at the melody. Tell me something, girl. So we have an E and a D and a B, and then C. Are you happy in this modern world? And it's a good idea to practice this just one hand at a time, of course. Tell me something, girl. 2, 3, 4, 1. Are you happy in this modern world? So when we're comfortable with playing left hand on its own and right hand on its own, tell me something, girl. 2, 3, 4, 1. Are you happy in this modern world? Then we can put it together. Tell me something, girl. 2, 3, 4, 1. Are you happy in this modern world? And no matter what level we play at, we should really be able to do this and get a nice flow before we start adding more notes and big professional pianist positions. But when we get that down, then we can start to play the chords. So I think of the E minor 7 as really just a mix of G, but with E in the bass. So this is also our to-go place for the right hand. And then the melody is on top here. So we play G with E in the bass, or E minor 7. Tell me some, and then we go to, we could play something like the second inversion of D, but we don't really need the F sharp in the right hand because it's in the bass. When we get this D slash something else, it usually means some kind of inversion or something similar. So this is D slash F sharp. Tell me something, girl. So the right hand really only needs to go like G and a D and a G. And instead of going like this, we can do this. Because the melody says something, so we say. So we could actually call this in the right hand like some kind of A chord. And if we just played an A and an E, it would be an A5 chord. And this would be a regular A chord. And we also got this thing called an A2, sus2, or sus4. So this looks like an A sus4 with F sharp in the bass. And then we just play G. So we go. We could also think of this as a G plus the E. We would usually call that a G6, but because of the E in the bass, we say it's E. We name the chord after the E. E minor 7. Tell me something, something, girl. And here I put my index finger down here on the, it's actually what we call a G add 9 chord. That can be a little bit confusing, but we have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if we play a regular G chord with this in, we call it G9, but if we don't play this, we can call it G2. So that's why there's these two names for the same note. G2, and then we call it something different to try and make sense of it. G9, so we go. Tell me something, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on this C, we have the melody on the C. So I would probably pick the second inversion of C, root procession, first inversion, second inversion. And then we can play this 9 again. Are you happy in this modern? So this is like what we call a suspended G chord, because it's like a mixture of G and C. So it's called like modern, and then it becomes a regular G. So G4, G to the D. And here we could play like just Ds, or like this, and then this little 2 and a 3 and a 4. This little triplet. It can be quite challenging for people to play because it's played super fast. 2 and a 3 and a 4, 2 and a 3 and a 4. But you just have to say 2 and a 3 and a 4. So it's da 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 da. 2 and a 3 and a 4. So we go. Are you happy in this? On C to G. Modern world. 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. So that's the verse.